Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonelle Miller. The video that is about to be shown is Better World Day, with me and my old classmates and kids all over Detroit fighting for literacy, because you guys know, literacy is a civil right.
Because of the little library, I started reading. One day I was just at the park and I saw like this little book. It said, I'm rocking my new shoes. My shoes are so blue. And I just kept on reading books from that point on. I never knew that 5 years later that I would be painting, giving a little library to a whole bunch of kids. I never thought this day would come.
Here in Detroit, we live in the book desert. So we teamed up with all these other kids from all these other schools to do something about it. We have created 4 little libraries. Without literacy, we can't access our human rights.
Our class studied the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
You have the right to be free, the right to get married. Like, if you don't know your rights, other people could just take them away from you.
The literacy gap was actually an opportunity gap. We didn't have access to high-quality curriculum. We have 80 K-8 schools adopting a brand new curriculum that really advances student knowledge beyond just the 4 walls of the classroom.
We started with Esperanza Rising, and the students learned about the UDHR. And now they were immersed in it, using the curriculum, but in real life. And they learned about all the different organizations and how they protect human rights. They've done the research. They've actually taught their artists who worked with them about the human rights.
Really, in Detroit, all the kids have, like different problems in the world. So I was just representing all the different patterns.
That's my design. Like the boombox was just...
Literacy is one of the main factors for succeeding in life.
Help us build a library with your gently used books.
We all have our equal talents, but we don't have equal access and opportunity to get books.
So we started making these little libraries, and the 4 that we have are part of that effort that you guys are going to put together today.
What is our goal?
850.
How is it going? Are they going in there?
We're getting these books from teachers and from students. Thanks to their help, we'll be able to give some to other kids.
I'm gonna paint my hand and I'm gonna have different designs on it. Everybody has different personalities. And Mariah, she has a clock and she's basically saying it's time to read.
54. Grand total. 225. You have collected 1,158 books. Isn't that amazing? Thank you for this opportunity.
Everyone thinking about making the world better at the same time, that's like a collective energy.
We can have a better world. Not only that, we can have the children who are the future leading it.
We can all play our part, just like the bees. Everybody has their own unique job where they're contributing to our super organism.
Multiple schools, the district, multiple people coming together for one reason. They want literacy to matter and be something in all of our kids' lives.
They are social activists, they are writers, they are readers, they are leaders to kids in this school and in the world.
It means a whole lot to know that I, Jonelle Miller, have gave something to Detroit, to have and to love. We had lots of help, but in the end, what you see up here, we did this. We are 5th graders from Detroit Public Schools, and we are here to contribute to a better world.
Happy Better World Day!
Gonna pass this legacy on down the road.
The video really does speak for itself, but I have to say, boy does time fly. When this video was made, I was 10 years old, and I'm 12 right now, and then I'll realize how much I have grown over these 2 years. And ever since Detroit adopted EL education curriculum, I feel like the work has been way more challenging these past few years. And it's helping kids become better readers and writers. And the curriculum helps you become even brighter than you was before because it's so rigorous and challenging. When EAA was going on, he was getting all the easy work and it wasn't right for us. But because of EL education curriculum, we are becoming brighter. And thanks to that, I just want to say thank you, EL education curriculum. It has made me the person that I am today. And at this time, I would like to introduce you to one of the game changers when it comes to literacy, instruction, and success for all students. Currently, Ms. Jordan is the master teacher for K-5 literacy at Burns, but the nation knows her as the Klingenstein Award winner for EL education, which just simply means that she is awesome and great at what she does by inspiring the love of literacy for all. At this time, let's hear from Ms. Jordan.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Jonelle, for such a warm introduction. Again, I am Tawana Jordan, and I am currently the master teacher and fourth grade teacher here at Burns Elementary School in Detroit, Michigan. As Jonelle said earlier, we are a part of the Detroit Public Schools Community District, where I have worked for over 24 years. Over the last 24 years, I had the opportunity to work with a variety of students and a variety of teachers, not only just here in Michigan, but all across the country. And during that time, I have picked up a lot of skills and a lot of strategies from a lot of different people. I have learned many things. I've learned a lot of to-dos and even a few to-don'ts, most from trial and error and even from trial and success. But one thing that I've learned is that education, there is no one size fits all. There is no secret formula or a hidden remedy that we're looking for. As a teacher, I had to learn to be flexible. I had to learn to move and grow with my students. And I learned the faster that I can move and monitor and adjust my lessons, the better outcomes for my students. Here at Burns Elementary Middle School, where I teach, it's a sort of diamond in a rough. A school that just 4 years ago was one of Detroit's lowest performing schools. And as a matter of fact, prior to our turnaround, Burns Elementary Middle School had not shown any growth in students in a consecutive 12 years. Burns was in a state of emergency. Things had to be done. First, starting with hiring a new principal, Ms. Cynthia Clayton. She brought a new, fresh air to Burns, something that they needed. She believed in our students here, despite their test scores, despite their current behaviors. She knew that they were capable of so much more. Here at Burns, like other urban schools all across the country, teachers have students who have mountains and hills in their life. And as teachers, we know that we can't remove all those mountains, but we can equip our students with a toolbox so that they can climb them. Low means and hard circumstances does not equal low expectation. Ms. Clayton hired all new teachers who had this belief in our students despite their path, despite their current circumstances. Staff who had a growth mindset and had the grit to get things done. The climate and the culture of our school had to change before learning could even begin. The students had to believe that they deserved high quality work and that they could move towards success. The following year, according to our beginning of the year benchmark assessment, we had 3 students, less than 1%, who were reading at grade level. This was the first year of me working here at Burns and the first year that we adopted the EL education curriculum. EL education is a curriculum that pushes students and teachers to reach goals far beyond what they can even imagine. A rigorous curriculum that gives our students the opportunity to engage in rigorous and rich curriculum where they can see themselves in the story. High quality text, hard work. You may listen to that and say, this and Burns may not be a perfect match, especially because Burns had a lot of students who had lots of unfinished learning from previous grade levels. but we had to dig in. And during that process, I discovered that our students, once given high expectations, once given the opportunity, they can dig in and get the job done. They had the grit to finish. They had to believe in themselves in order to succeed. I left work every day tired and exhausted sometimes because this was hard work, but it was well worth it. At the end of our very first year, we went from 3 to over 70 students who were on grade level and lots more who were closer than they had ever been in their educational life to hitting their goals. The one most important thing I learned through that struggle is that we found a new strength, not just in ourselves, but in our students, and we gave them the courage to try anything. We talk about literacy as being a civil rights for everyone. As I look back at past generations of people of color and women, that was not always the case. When I look at future generations and my students, they probably can't even imagine a world without the right to read. So now today that everyone has this civil right to read, why not make reading great? Not only make it a right, but make it a passion, a gift, a goal. Make it something that children run to and desire. And don't underestimate the power of yourself or the power within your students. We have a long road ahead of us at Burns, but now that we have the tools and the belief that we can do it, we know it can be done. Thank you. And now I want to introduce another fantastic Detroit Public School teacher, a phenomenal woman and a phenomenal educator, and someone I consider my friend, Miss Pamela Hornbuckle.
Wow. Thank you, Tawana. I feel so honored because you know how much I love and value as well as respect and honor you and what you do. Again, my name is Pamela Hornbuckle. I have been with Detroit Public Schools, or now known as Detroit Public Schools Community District, for 24 years. Most of those years in the classroom serving as a classroom teacher. But recently, I became a literacy coach on special assignment where I help teachers across the district. I want you to think about some main things with me before we leave today. We know that literacy is a civil right, not believe, we know literacy is a civil right. But what does that look like in reality in the classroom where our students live? I want to leave with you 3 valuable points. Number 1, please use complex text at or above grade level. That is their right. Number 2, believe that your students can meet any goal and then watch them exceed it. And number 3, I want you to believe, no, I want you to know that failure is not a person. And it's something that we all deal with throughout life. So we need to teach our students how to use it as a stepping stone instead of an obstacle. So let's go back and rewind and let's review some of this. What does that look like within context? I want you to take a virtual field trip with me. Yes, a field trip, but it's free. Close your eyes for a moment in your safe space. And we're about to take a trip in an airplane. We're about to fly. You now have become an aeronautics student. You want to learn how to become a pilot. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you to think about what would you see around this classroom? What would be your classroom? Where would it be? What would your instructor use to teach you how to fly above the clouds? Now, as you contemplate that, I want you to just look at what's right in front of you. That would be the best practices to teach you how to fly. Now, open your eyes. I want to ask you one thing. Did you see a bicycle? What? A bicycle? Probably not. even though a bicycle is more than sufficient to get you from point A to point B, but it's only used on the ground. It's not used to soar above the clouds. Same with complex text and at grade level complex text, I should say, versus below grade level text. Vastly different things. You can only expect your students to become proficient, no, let's scrap proficient, excellent readers if you supply them with the right tools to get to the right ends. What do I mean by that? How do we teach our students how to fly in reading, how to become an excellent close reader? We give them complex text at and above grade level, and we allow them to develop that vocabulary, that higher thinking skills where they can think, talk, write, and they can also use their life experiences and bring it all together into this beautiful orchestration of a lifelong reader. The second thing, when we believe in our students, when we really believe in our students, there is nothing that is impossible to them. Absolutely nothing. I've seen this time and time again. And I'll cover that in a moment with a student I'll refer to as David. And finally, our students, when they struggle with reading, and after they struggle and fall, after a while, they begin to take on this sense of failure is no longer what I've done. Failure is now who I am. They take on a persona of failure. And we have to help them reshape their thinking. You are not the failure. You are a success. We are now going to look at failure within the right lens. Failure is just another means of saying, hey, didn't work that time. Let's try it another way. Or let's try another strategy. So now, how does that look like in everyday life? I want you to take a journey with me. In 2018, I actually became a struggling reader. But in February of 2018, right when our school district had adopted or was in the process of adopting EL education as our curriculum, which is actually very complex, I fell and I hit my head. I could read after that every word on the page phonetically without a problem, without even blinking an eye. But there was only one problem. I couldn't understand 3 simple words on the page. That was a huge problem. In February, getting ready for our state standardized test and moving my students who were also 80% or more English language learners to become proficient and above proficient readers. That was a task, but I didn't give up. Guess what? I also couldn't give up on myself. I found myself looking at the text as a struggling reader now in my 40s. What could I do? I had to go back and employ those same reading strategies that I would now have to again teach my students in the classroom. I had to learn them along with my students now. Chunking text down all the way, not just paragraph, not just sentence level, but down to word small phrases to develop my vocabulary again. And then building slowly but surely into sentences, into paragraphs of meaning, and finally into whole pages of text at an adult level. Trust me, there were many nights that I cried and sometimes wanted to scream. But think about our struggling readers who've been there all of their lives. It was such a wake-up call for me like never before. I thought I understood my students, and to a small degree, I did, but not like that. For that entire year, I lived in their shoes. I walked, slept, and ate in those shoes. But it gave me a better depth of compassion and understanding, and also keys into the strategies that were most effective for my students to get them from point A to the clouds. I also want to tell you about a student named David. After that year of intense studying how to become a close reader again and my brain healing, the following year, I had a wonderful student named David. He came to me on the first day of school from another school. David had lost his father a year before he came to me. David actually watched his father die in his arms. He was diagnosed with PTSD. And now he had been struggling in school for over a year, even suffering with slight bouts of depression. So when he walked to my classroom with his mother, I immediately just opened my arms. I'm such a hugger. And I said, "Welcome, David," and gave him a huge hug. And I said, "Welcome to our classroom. Come right on in." And his mother just whispered, "Thank you," and walked out the door. And I had to employ the same character traits that EL education has in their curriculum, character curriculum: respect, empathy, and compassion. But not only did I have to employ it, I had to teach my students how we all were a family. And as a family and a community of learners, this is what we're going to do. We are going to extend grace and compassion to each other. This is a place where we stumble, we get up, we wipe ourselves off, and we move again. This is our safe place. And now, David was starting to grow. He was starting to learn. David, at that place in September, scored at 3rd grade, and I was at 5th grade level, using complex at and above grade level text. Do you know, within 4 months when we tested in January, David scored at mid-5th grade level. He had blown the ceiling off of any expectations I could ever set for him. And do you know, David, the very next day after we had our data conversation, he no longer sat like this in class. David came in, sat up, had pencil in hand, and was ready as a strong, close reading student at grade level. He knew, he finally came to the point that he realized he was not a failure. Failure was only an event. It's never a. So with those 3 things, literacy is a civil right. And how does that manifest in our classrooms again? By using at and above grade level complex text, by having high expectations and beliefs in our children, their abilities, and finally, recognizing failure is not a person, it's an event that we can use to grow and catapult us to the clouds. With that, thank you for listening, and I would like to hand it back over to Jonelle.
Today, I hope that everyone has enjoyed this time and is now more informed on how students like myself and my crew at Burns, along with students across the nation, that need to be challenged when it comes to learning in order to reach their full potential. And I think to myself, what if literacy wasn't a civil right? Well, first, if literacy wasn't a civil right, I wouldn't be speaking to you guys right here at this moment right now. But it is. So I'm confident because I continue to be challenged, and what happens to me should happen for all kids. Thank you all so much. And again, I'm Jonelle Miller.